So welcome everybody to the system admin SIG for July. Ed couldn't make it today, so we're just kind of free flowing it. Feel free to jump in if you have things you want to talk about. There wasn't an agenda. He did send me one topic he wanted us to discuss though, so I'm gonna go ahead and start with that, and then we can go from there. He said that at McKinney, they're testing out the room reservation plugin and wanted to know if other people had used the room reservation plugin at all. If you wanted to share your experiences. I know that we have not.
We dabbled with it at the UNT County Library, but we didn't use it in earnest, really.
Anybody else play with it at all, or?
No, I'm just looking at the GitHub right now.
He said that he mentioned hasn't seen anything from Lee in a while, and I think Lee is who developed it. Is that right?
That looks. The person here is LD Jameson. Yeah, Lee Jameson.
Yeah, that's Lee.
So.
And he wondered if anybody had had contact with Lee lately.
No, it looks like September was the last time he did anything at all on GitHub. September 5th.
Yeah, I don't have much else I can add to that. It is like a plugin that lets you manage room reservations, right? Like directly from Koha.
Let's see. Here's the Bywater post from last month that Jesse did a post on it.
I believe what it does is it treats resources, kind of gives them a Marc file or a Marc record, and then you kind of check it out to people, if I remember correctly, but don't quote me on that. I'm trying to find. Let's see, I'm trying to see here.
From 1 to 2. So once they're ready to book a room, they do have to be logged to a calendar.
Yeah, it looks like you can set up like a book-in like tab and set up a calendar and assign rooms to book just from kind of clicking through the tutorial from Jesse's post. And it looks kind of like putting a hold, but there's like different room options and time. And then you can add, it looks like however many rooms, and you can put like capacity and equipment in. I don't know. You can set how far out they can reserve. Amount of time they can reserve for. How many reservations a patron can have in a day. Restrict it to patron categories, so like you could set that only adults could reserve it or whatever. And you can also black out days like for holidays. I didn't see how it linked to where if you wanted to, or maybe that's also how you'd black out like when you're closed. Since the Koha calendar doesn't have, oh no, it looks like there's maybe a start and end availability. So I haven't used it, but it looks interesting.
Yeah, it does. Here I've also put a link to the wiki for that specific plugin there. So if anybody's interested in looking into it more, that looks like it's got some good information.
I wonder how well it works with multi-branch systems. If you can like You can probably assign it to a branch. Now I want to play around with this.
Yay. Mission accomplished.
Yeah. I think we're going to get a test server at Valnet
Yeah.
soon. The directors voted on it, but then we're like waiting. We tried to roll the money for it into a grant somehow. I don't know exactly how they, like an educational, because we can use it for patron and staff training. And I think we're waiting to actually get it till we find out if we got that grant. I think we're going to get it either way. Just wait until they know how we're paying for it before we actually get it started. And I'm like, that'd be a great place to test this out.
Yeah. Yeah, so if anybody else is interested in the room reservation plugin, could reach out to Ed on our list here for the SIG or just individually. And I'm guessing he wants to like look at ways they can improve it maybe, and that's why he was talking to Lee as well. So if you guys want to collaborate on that, that's an option. I see in the chat, Yuyan says, do you guys ever use lists in Koha? One of our staff made one by taking Marc field. I tried to do by using SQL, but mine doesn't work.
Yeah, I use lists all the time. I just scan with a barcode. Scan the barcode.
Yeah, our lists are kind of wild west because we let anybody make lists, including the patrons. So we do have lots of lists in there. As far as making a list, you can run reports on lists. I think it's the virtual shelves table. So if somebody makes a list and then you want to pull that out with SQL, you can do that with a report. And I've done that before. I'm not sure. As far as getting started, maybe the manual has something. So there's a link to the list portion of the manual that might be helpful for getting started with making lists and working with them in Koha.
Bywater also did a blog post about how to create lists last summer that has some good like pictures of ways to create lists and different ways to add items to lists. I put that in the chat. Yeah, our staff doesn't really use lists, but our patrons do. We've talked some about using them to do like displays, especially since we're only open limited, like we're limiting how many people are in the library at a time and how long people can be in. So to try and do like displays that people can browse from home more easily, but we haven't really got a foothold on that yet.
And yeah, I've used them to, so I have the staff member makes a list and then I pull the list with a report, which then you can make a public report and like push that out to an external site. So I did a presentation on that at Kohathon on how we use those, which is handy for doing stuff like Lisette just mentioned, making kind of browsing collections.
I still have your Puppet Kits page bookmarked, and I keep opening it up by accident and going, I really want to work on doing something like this. Because they just cataloged all our puppets. They hadn't been cataloged before. List group all the titles.
Well, if you want, I could create a list now. I'd share my screen.
Sure, go for it.
Okay. Let's see if it'll allow me. Looks like it. Okay, there. Okay, can you see my list page?
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to go to Home, go to Lists, and I'll create a new list. A list. Have it sorted by title, author, copyright, private or public. I can change it. Anyone can change it. Yeah, save. And add items. You can do either barcodes or biblios. Sure if I've cataloged these yet. Oh, how about this one? And there's the list. Now you can do a whole series of barcodes and then copy and paste it in there, or biblios. It doesn't look like you can upload a file.
So Yuyan mentioned that they want to do lists of titles with a certain subject. You could definitely like run a report on that subject to get your list of items and make sure you include the biblio number or the barcode number in your report results. And then you could copy and paste that list into the list to make your list.
I have no idea how to do it by SQL.
I probably don't have a subject report, but I can maybe look real fast. Okay, wait, here, I'll share. Eeny, meeny, miny, too many windows. Ooh, that's Bonnie the dog, isn't it? Let me. Okay, so I have this report that's just called Subject of Graphic Novel. I didn't actually test it just a second ago before I clicked it, so this may not work. Okay, yeah, so you can see that this report pulls call number, title, author, and then it goes off the Library of Congress subject headings. In the SQL, you can see that it's searching just the 650 tag, 650A, for anything that looks like graphic novel, and the percentage signs are wildcards, so it'll grab anything if it's like in the middle of the phrase or at the end or something. So I got 473 records there, and I could just download this report and then copy this column and paste that into a list if I wanted to make a list of all my graphic novels there. And I can post this in the chat.
Jason?
Yep.
We could only see the table of contents in the Koha manual.
Oh. That means I was sharing the right screen. Okay, can you see the report now?
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Yes.
All right. So, okay. So the report gives you the different columns. You can see here the code I was just talking about. So this report is just searching the 650A for anything that looks like graphic novel. And it's got those two wildcard symbols, so it'll grab anything, grab it in any position of that field. So then, like I was saying, I could download this report, copy all these biblio numbers out, and then paste them into a list, like Fred just showed us. And I'll get this.
Ooh, neat. I could use that. You put it somewhere where I can steal, harvest it.
Absolutely. Let me stop the share and I'll put it in the chat.
If you could put that on the Coho Wiki, Jason, that would also be lovely.
I
Yes.
may have actually gotten it from the
Oh,
Koha Wiki.
great.
I'm not sure.
Oh, cool. I didn't look there, I have to admit.
I do have another one that I need to post up that George told me to post up and I haven't. So if it's not there, I'll get it there. I always like forget and I'm at home. I forget my wiki password, so. And I posted it. I just sent it to you didn't I? Yeah, okay. There's the whole thing for everybody. All right.
We don't have graphic novels yet, but
And you can, if you change just that last thing, you can make it a keyword search. So if you do your hungry alligators, then you can search on whatever topic you want.
or let's say,
Yuyan, do you want patrons to do it, or do you want staff to create the list?
Can you hear me?
I can't see you, but I can hear you.
Yeah, we only want the staff to do this.
Okay.
Thank you
All right.
so much. You guys
Yeah.
so helpful.
Now we can see
Hello.
you too.
Mhm.
While we're on the topic of lists, does anybody else use Amazon cover images?
We do.
I think so.
So
On your list in the OPAC, are you getting cover images there? I'm wondering if it's something I broke or if it's like an actual bug.
Well, we only use Amazon covers in the intranet, in the staff interface.
In the staff
And then
client.
Yeah, and then we use Syndetics for the other.
let's see. No, we use Google for the patron side, it looks like. Google covers.
Do you have cover images on your list with Google?
Mm-hmm. Here, I can
Alright.
share.
It must be something I broke then.
I've never broken anything.
I think we've probably all broken something at some point.
Yeah.
We use Open
Oh.
Library for our cover images, and we have them on our list. So I'll put a link in the chat.
Well, I just tried to get to one of our lists and I got a software error.
Oh,
Maybe I'm not using. What am I using? Oh, I was using the however you say it. Coce?
Coce server. I was just about to say I'm late to the party, but it sounds like you're talking about cover images.
mm-hmm.
We use that too, Jason, and ours are okay.
All right, then it's definitely something I broke myself.
Well, okay, I got a list to come up. Doesn't have any covers at all.
What's the issue?
In the OPAC, I'm not getting cover images on my lists. I was trying to figure out if it was, because I do have some custom XSLT in there, but when I took that out, they still weren't showing.
I don't remember if we have them on ours. I'm looking right now. Just-
Yeah, I guess I can show you mine too. So there's a list lacking cover images, but I do see an error in the inspector. I'm guessing it's some sort of broken jQuery somewhere.
Looks like I broke something.
But if not, I guess I could try and replicate my exact settings on master and see if it does the same thing.
I don't have cover images on our lists either in the OPAC, but I don't remember if we ever have.
Okay, our OPAC does, but not the staff.
Yeah, I think the adding
I could also just be looking at a list that doesn't have any cover.
I was looking at Bugzilla earlier on this, and adding the images to a list in the staff client is still something that's being worked on.
I think this may have something to do with going from 1705 to maybe 1911 when I moved the server from my cubicle to the cloud.
Hey guys, I have a question. For the image, cover image, when I import a new recording, sometimes they have image. I don't know, is maybe by default. With Koha, they will have some image in there. And some they don't. So last week, I load my own image to create one. So since I was so happy because I created the first time just use the own image, local image, and successful, I was really happy. But when I look at some of our title don't have image, but now they showing two signs says no cover image twice. Used to be just once, but now since I created a local, they showing on other title without the image, they showing twice. I don't know what went wrong, because on the admin, I said I only prefer just no, I said no multiple image. So suppose even they showing no cover image should be supposed to be showing once, but they now showing twice. So I'm not sure I explained myself. That makes sense.
I think what you're describing is a bug where if you have Amazon images and Google images turned on, and neither of them has an image, you see the no image tag twice. And the same thing will happen. That might be what you've got going on. I'm not sure.
I think my setting, the preference, I said none of them. Don't display. I showing don't display.
Oh, then I'm not sure.
Yeah, I know. I follow every those step, but since I add my local image, now they showing twice with those without image, and showing twice a no cover image twice for that title. I wish I can share the screen, but I'm not sure I can share my screen.
I don't know about that, but I did find bug JSON 25869 that I posted in the chat there. Coce images not loading for lists.
That's the one.
And it's past QA, like a week ago.
Cool.
Oh, okay.
I know when I set up our system, I think it was 3.12, I had Amazon and Google images, so I was getting two covers.
Yeah, I've done that too. If you let me find the system preference.
I just searched system preferences for cover.
Is it in the staff client or the OPAC or both, yuyan? When you're seeing
Only in staff.
Yeah, I have it hidden in the OPAC, but I don't have any duplication in the staff client. It looks like George put in the two system preferences there to check.
Yeah, those are for Amazon cover images.
Yeah, Google's is Google Jackets.
And actually, these all say they distinguish between. The only option I see for adding images in the staff client is the Amazon. The Google cover, Google Jacket specifically says opaque.
But you can turn it on in Coce. I don't know if that just always trickles down to Amazon, but it does have an enable. We don't have that one turned on.
Both my Coce, like intranet Coce is enabled, and the opaque Coce is enabled in my preference.
So that might be where the duplication is coming from, since Coce is selecting both Google and Amazon and
Should
local.
I change one?
So do you have Amazon cover images? Do you have that turned on?
Let me think. Amazon don't show. Both Amazon don't show.
They say don't show.
I said as don't show. I think I read from somewhere said don't show. Otherwise, it might be a multi-image. So.
Okay, there's an option that I haven't seen before. Is allow multiple covers. I have it set don't allow multiple images to be attached to each bibliographic record. Does that mean what I think it means, which is if you have Amazon cover and let's say Google Jackets turned on, only one of them will be displayed?
No, I don't think so. I think that's for being able to upload multiple images. We use that for multiple images. And our settings seem to be the same as yours, Yuyan, for don't show Amazon, don't show Google, but we have Coce turned on. And we do get in the staff client one no cover image available, even if there is a cover, but we don't get two no covers.
I got a 2 because that one is totally no image. For the one has already image, they just saw that image right there. Well, but that's fine as long as opaque doesn't show this, I'm okay. I just see if is anybody know.
I took a look, and if we don't have a cover image, we're also getting 2 no cover images in the staff client. Same thing.
Okay. Yeah, that would be, maybe there's a bug there.
Yeah, it's looking very bug-like. Let's see if there is something.
Okay, great. Now you can resemble what I have here. Thank you.
And I would guess, even if there's not a bug, there's probably a way some jQuery wizard out there could hide one of those editions, so there's only one showing again. You could open a ticket with Bywater. I'm sure Lucas could figure it out pretty fast.
I'm actually looking through my stuff right now because I'm kind of recollecting I might have done that. But there's so much.
But you can Control F it now. I'm so excited about that.
What's Control F?
Yeah, in the previous upgrade, you couldn't use Control F to search through your system preferences, and so it would only search through what was on screen. So my jQuery system preference is like 1,600 lines, and I couldn't find anything because I couldn't Control F. But that works again.
Yeah, I would just copy it out into like Sublime Text and Control F there.
Yeah, don't have to do that anymore.
Yep. So,
okay, here's what I've got. If you go to the system preference, IntranetUserCSS, and add that bit of code, that removes the no image placeholders. That's how I dealt with the problem, apparently. I just don't remember dealing with the problem. But apparently I did. That just gets rid of all of those placeholders that say no image.
Okay, let me copy.
Is that the default in the opaque? If there isn't an image, there's no placeholder?
don't think so because I have this CSS in my OPAC system preference, but that may be different now because I'm sure it's old CSS.
Yeah, if I comment out that CSS, I get no cover image, no cover image, no cover image, and duplicates. Tons and tons of duplicates.
So there is a bug that's very old about this that has one comment and three CCs from 2013.
George, that CSS is brilliant. I just put it in our staff client and it got rid of all our no cover images. Thank you.
I think you can thank 2015, George, because that's old. I must have done that ages ago.
It does look like this bug would fix it, right? I mean, it's discussing the exact issue that we're talking about.
Yeah, I'm checking to make sure there's not a newer duplicate that never got marked. But I'm not seeing anything, so.
Heather, how do you do that? Just use George's code to remove the image? How do you do that? Where do you put?
I went to the system preference that he mentioned, IntranetUserCSS.
Oh, hold on one second. Sorry.
If you have the chat box open, I just pasted it into the chat box.
Yeah, I saw, but I don't know where to put that.
Okay, so you want to go to
so here,
administrate. Okay, there you're going to show.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
okay.
administration, awesome. And then if you just search for, oh, I lost my chat box.
It's IntranetUserCSS.
Image, right? Images.
My cat's in front of my keyboard.
I like to just search user CSS in this one, and then I get both at the same time. I can pick.
CSS. Okay.
Okay, and then it's this one down here.
So intranet is your staff client.
Yep, and then OPAC would be the patron side. Okay, Kat, I think you need to get off my desk now.
So do you put it in between the curly brackets?
What you want to do is where my chat box go.
Yeah, the curly brackets contain the rule for that one specific class.
Is there curly brackets for each individual code, or does everything have to fit within, all codes have to fit within the curly brackets?
No, each rule that you put forth is going to have its own curly brackets.
So what I just put there in the chat box, if you start with the dot in front of no image.
Okay.
And copy everything down. Copy everything down to the second curly bracket.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly what Lisette just put into the screen there.
Okay, let me try. Gosh, this. Okay.
Yay, I got it to work. Thanks, George, of 2015.
I'm actually surprised that Lisette had to add that to ValNet. I'm surprised I didn't put it there when I was there.
Yeah, it was probably George of 2016 sometime after you left. So I haven't messed with this at all.
Okay.
Except for adding that circular. I haven't taken anything out of the CSS. I've taken plenty out of the jQuery because some of it has been
breaks.
Actually working. Well, and some of it's just part of Koha now. Some of the stuff that you had written. Or things broke, or things that we decided we didn't need anymore.
Right.
But then I go back and add in like arrays to do things and put a bunch more lines in. New things to break in the future. So if there's not a cover, if it hides this, then when you do a catalog search, if before, here, wait, let me, because I think DVDs are pretty much the only thing we don't have cover images for. So it just shows like that. We only get one. Does it look way different? So it does.
It just collapses that column.
Collapse the column if there's absolutely no.
Right.
But I bet if you do like Percy Jackson, Olympians, and don't put DVD. Oh, yep.
How about Percy Jackson? Myself.
We have so many different records because the schools keep putting them on different records, so it would just come up with, okay, yeah. There we go. Yeah, so I think I like that. I wonder if anyone will notice if I just don't tell them. That
I told them it was an upgrade. That's what I always did.
Well, we also have a systems meeting like next week, so I might just see if anyone says anything. Then I'll just say, oh, we were playing around, and I'll check with them then about it. Make sure no one's upset at me.
I also have this in here, which limits the width of an image. That way, it seems like we had an issue where, I guess that's if you're using the Coce server, sometimes the images are like this wide, and sometimes they're this wide, and sometimes they're this tall, sometimes they're this tall. But especially the ones from Open Library, they're not consistent in size. But if you tell it to constrain the width and the maximum width they can be, what did I put that at 100 pixels, then it gives it a lot more uniformity. Because some of the ones, particularly from Open Library, they're like, a quarter of the screen wide. And I think that was why I put that in there. I'm got all this stuff that's not documented and I don't remember doing. So that's actually one of my projects, ongoing projects, is to document the things that I've done. So.
So I have a stupid question to ask. What is Coce? Last I knew, that was customers of Source Dynamics and Court International. But
the Coce server is a thing. Bywater has one, and what it does is it caches the URLs for images. I think if you do a search for system preferences for Coce, there's one called...
How's it spelled?
COCE.
I just put the...
Okay.
It looks like it looks at Amazon, Google, and Open Library and finds the best match.
Yes, and so the first thing you have to do is set the system preference called CoceHost, and Bywater has a Coce server at that location.
Is it available to non-Bywater customers?
Yeah, anybody can use it.
We won't tell on you. I mean, Mitch is here. He might tell on you, but we won't tell on you, Fred.
Oh, yeah, right.
I don't think they have a way to block it from non-Bywater customers. I don't think it's I don't think it's logistically possible. But what it does is if you set CoceProviders is the next preference, and you can choose Amazon, Google, and Open Library. And so what it does is when Koha loads a record, I left my door open. I'm shouting and Robin's across the hall listening to this meeting. So what it does is when you search for a record, it grabs the ISBN number from that record and it sends it to the Coce server. And it asks the question to the Coce server, do you have a link to a cover image from Amazon, Google, or Open Library? And if the Coce server does, instead of going and doing the search at Amazon or going and doing the search at Google or doing the search at Open Library, it just grabs the link from the Coce server, so it makes loading the images faster. And it also has the advantage of if you turn on Amazon, Google, and Open Library, if Amazon doesn't have an image, then it looks at Google, and if Google doesn't have an image, then it looks at Open Library. But it doesn't do it in any order, it just gets the first one it can find. So this way, you know, if we've got, what I found when I turned it on is there were a lot of books where Amazon didn't have a cover, but Google did. And then there were a lot of covers where Amazon and Google didn't have a cover, but Open Library did. So it meant we got more images for our covers than just using Amazon, than just using one or the other. The disadvantage I found of it is we have a lot of records where somebody will buy this book and they will add a record, and in our system, if you buy the trade paperback that goes along with this, you know, the same, whatever this is, Heartland, by the same author, if you buy the trade paperback, we don't create a second record. Somebody will just add the ISBNs from the trade size paperback to the same record. And so we have a lot of books, particularly older books, where there's like 10 ISBN numbers on there. And sometimes the ISBN number that gets sent to the Coce server will grab the wrong image. It'll be a wrong ISBN, or it'll be from an old edition that has a different cover. And so then then there are these weird situations. And of course, there are always the situations where you have an image that Amazon has the correct cover image for the book, but Google has, it seems like we had a Dr. Seuss book that was coming up as something, the cover image was completely wrong for that book. And then I get all these calls from librarians, you have to fix that. And it's like, I can't fix it. The best I can do is, you know, try and switch the order of the ISBN numbers and figure out which one is giving us the bad image so that we can get a decent image for it. So those are some of the pitfalls of using the Coce server. And of course, yeah.
How much trouble would it be to just find the right cover image stored as a local one? How often does that happen? It is so completely different.
You can add local cover images just like any, you know, if you want to add a local cover image, you can do that anytime you want.
I mean, how much of a pain would it be to...
What you might end up with is 2 cover images. It seems like I might have been working on code at some point to, I was working at something at one point where if there was a local cover image and a remote cover image, that it wouldn't display the other one, but then I stopped working on it. I don't know why.
When we don't run across that problem too often, but usually and maybe cover your ears, Heather. I usually just tell my librarians to cancel the ISBN, so move it down to the subfield Z, and that'll stop it from pulling the wrong image. It won't pull the right image, but it will at least not pull the wrong image.
Now that's actually a pretty good solution, because the ISBN then is still perfectly searchable and preserved in the record, even in the subfield Z.
And it looks like it worked. You managed to get rid of the cover images. That's cool. Or the no cover images. And I agree. Nobody misses the little thing that says no cover image. At least I've never had anybody say, gee, I wish we had that no cover image logo back.
Yeah, I think it's sort of a cleaner, less cluttered display to not have that little no coverage, no cover image.
I've never thought of the possibility I could have it linked to another image.
Yeah, design
Something.
your own no cover image.
Yeah, like a pirate flag or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I've seen that someone does have that. I think someone showed it off at, like, not as part of a presentation, but just they were doing a presentation and their local cover image was, or their no cover image was different.
That'd be fun to have ours be something like scan a cover image and send it to Heather.
Somebody
More
will
work
send
for
to
Heather,
me.
that's what he used to say.
One of my manager, another day, I create this local image because he emailed me about a new book and he attached the image. He said to me, he sent an email around 8:56 and he said, this is a new book. Please put the image there. And can you do it by 9:30? Okay, I said, I don't know, because I never do the local image. I said, if they come with the image, certainly I can get it very quick, but I will put the bibliography record in the system, but I will figure out how to add the image you provide. Anyway, I figure out, of course, after half an hour, because I go through all the administration tool preference, things like that. But anyway, I got back. So I was like, oh, I would prefer, she said, oh, can you do that as soon as possible instead of do it by 9:30?
9:30, yeah.
Once I ended up taking a picture of the cover of my phone, sending it to my computer, editing it a little bit, and using that as the cover image. It's one of our most popular things, and it does not have a cover image.
There's actually, I saw a bug that Christopher Brannon filed saying that there should be a way to add a cover image with your phone. There should be some kind of interface for specifically doing that.
Yeah, that's. Oh, where did
It's a
it
bug
It
somewhere
is
on Bugzilla.
Yeah.
It is really handy because, like, we had a laptop lab, and I just took a picture of the, cart with the doors open so that people could see there's laptops in there. And adding a local cover image really does have a good, it is a good tool. Things like that, or items that aren't in OCLC or something like that. So.
I thought I opened up that bug, but
Yeah, we end up adding a lot of local cover images because our collection is so much older. And we also try to add them to Open Library. They won't match because these items are too old to have an ISBN, but still it gets the cover image out there for other people.
So yeah, Christopher, I just put the bug in the chat. Capture cover image via webcam, which I think theoretically the way the webcam thing is working should work with a built-in webcam, like on a built-in camera on a phone, just like it would work with a webcam on a computer. So that would be helpful, I think.
Oh, also on the subject of cover images, Owen showed us what he was working on. Do you remember what bug that was? Was that?
When
like
was this?
At the web dev. Were you at the web dev?
I wasn't at the web dev meeting. I
Oh,
think I have the email handy, and she had.
it looks pretty nifty. It's like a drag and drop, like you drag your image in.
Let's see. So there's a demo. Nope. Demo here. Just a little 7-second video for drag and drop files to add to a cover image. as a local cover image.
Whenever you say drag and drop, I keep thinking
Dropping dragons, yeah.
And that's for bug 25025.
And Todd brought up at that discussion also, wouldn't it be cool if we had just like a little built-in editor for the images at that point where you could like flip and rotate and do simple things there. So
maybe crop a little bit in case there was like white space.
I don't know, this seems too simple.
okay, are there other things you guys want to talk about? Other questions you've got?
Well, one thing came up. I haven't spent a lot of time trying to figure it out myself, but if anyone can think, oh yes, of course. See, I've got a server at home that is running a Koha installation on VirtualBox. And when I was trying to figure out what circuit had blown in my basement, I hit the circuit breaker and accidentally turned off the server. And now it's back and the VirtualBox image is running, but I can't log into it because the two passwords I have, or usernames and passwords, won't let me in. So, isn't there a way to create another user and password from the command line?
Are you talking you can't log into Koha or you can't log into the box at all?
Let's see, I think I can log into the VirtualBox, but I can't log into the Koha systems.
You should be able to access the password and the username, right?
Yeah, I don't remember what because I had this problem last time I got a dev box running. Was then when I went back to it, I'd set not something that I have used before or remembered for the password, and how did I get that back? I think there's something you can do in, like, once you SSH into the dev box. But I do not remember what the command is, and I'm not seeing it on my cheat sheet.
See, there's the command where you get the password to koha underscore and then the instance name. Would that work?
That might work.
Without wiping out the weeks and weeks of effort I spent putting several million records into this server.
I think that's what I was thinking of, and all it does is just it hones in on the password that's in the file.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I'll make a copy of the VirtualBox file and I'll try it.
Good idea.
That's why everybody's password should just be 1, 2, 3, 4.
I thought you were
It'd be so
advocating
much
for
simpler.
like 30-character passwords or something.
Yeah.
That's the development that I've got that's in the works, is to allow you to set password length and password complexity on a patron category by patron category basis. Because we have many libraries where they don't want, I have enough libraries that don't want super complex patron passwords because their patrons are never going to remember them. And it's hard when you're at a small library and you're creating a card for somebody to say, okay, what do you want your password to be? And to have that discussion across the counter, that doesn't work. So most of our libraries, their password is like the last 4 digits of their phone number or their last name or whatever. You know, it's something that it's going to be easy to remember. But then for staff, because all of that's set globally, it means that staff have the same password strength and limitations as patrons. So the reason that we sponsored this development is so that I can say if the patron category is library associate, I want to make the passwords 15 characters long, and I want to enforce the complex password policies. In that development, I signed off on it and then it failed QA. So Andrew's still working on that, but it should be, you know, there's like 3-4 months left. It should be in 2011. But
I don't know if it helps, but the libraries that don't want to discuss the pin, I could totally understand. You could either have them write it down, or we just got a 10-pin, you know, USB keyboard, and we say, okay, you know, they click it, the staff clicks in the box and said, okay, put in your pin, and then they click in the next box, put in your pin.
Yeah,
you know,
that's not a bad idea. It's hard to implement in 51 libraries, though.
Yeah, it's like a low-tech solution, but
yeah,
it's a possibility. And it only works for, you know, 10 key, you know,
right.
digits, if that's their cup of tea.
We have a bunch of different libraries doing a bunch of different stuff. One of them uses the name of the town that they're in. A bunch of them use the patron's last name. A bunch of them use last 4 digits of the phone number. There's all kinds of. That's the problem with having 51 completely different libraries with different governing boards and different levels of staff knowledge and ability. So.
I don't know if everyone's seen the XKCD cartoon about passwords. I put the link in the.
An interesting one.
I set up buttons online. I don't know if I stole that from somebody or not. I guess I can show you. So on mine I have this like random button that'll randomly generate a password, or it'll pull information from different areas, which is what I use.
Wow.
It's very similar to what I've got.
Yeah, okay. So I stole it from George then. I harvested it from George. Yeah. I think I took the code for the random button from the actual change your password randomizer here.
Yeah.
I just stole that. I mean, harvested that. Moved it over to the other page.
We set our passwords by default based on a certain part of information, but we let patrons change their password now.
Yeah.
And so on the edit screen, only on the edit screen, we have a button that sets it back to the default. That's like, I also harvested that code from George.
What all of our libraries do is they say your default password is, you know, whatever the default password is. And when you get home, you should log in and change it, because they all can change their passwords, but none of them do. There are certain towns where if you find a library card in the street, just take it home, type in the card number, and type in the name of that town, and you're in.
Free Hoopla checkouts.
Yeah, free Hoopla. Read all the magazines you want on Flipster.
One thing I set up for our users is always MedStar1, the capital N and number 1. And I say, you might want to change this.
And none of them do.
I don't know. Should probably find out.
Okay, well, we're at an hour. We did our due diligence, I think. If there's nothing else anybody wants to talk about, I'll get this recording posted up on the YouTube channel as soon as.
Sorry I was late, but I'm glad I was able to help a couple people.
Yes, thank you,
everyone. It was a really good meeting. I learned a lot.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you, everyone. It was really useful.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.